What is up? What is up? What is up? Hello. What is up, Miss Village? Ah, man. So we are 2 weeks out from the release of Alpha. Thank you so much for making it a good release. That's a bit of a relief, honestly. 4 years away. Definitely took the time that I needed for myself. And it was the right time, but oh dear God, it feels even better knowing that you guys were feeling it. So thank you, like legit. I'm so appreciative. We got to the top 25 on Audible. We got to the top 200 on Amazon. We're still staying strong in the top 100 on Audibles, top 1,000 on Amazon out of the hundreds of millions of books that they sell. And that's because of you guys. Thank you so much. All right. So yeah, like I said, I'm doing more of these updates. First thing I'm going to cover before anything else after the thanks is where's book 9. So I have been having a dope time when I'm doing my morning jogs. I like to call them runs, but I feel like I need to be honest with you guys. When I'm doing that, I'm re-listening to book 1, and it is so much fun. Hold on, I'm actually pulling up some of my notes here of like just these really fun things, and hearing like Nick breathe it to life is amazing. And so that is super duper cool. And you guys have to tell me this. So I was trying to do like an integration of all the different places, and I'm actually using several devices. So I may look like a crazy person as I look back and forth, but I'm trying to have it be cool and smooth and whatever. Okay, so book 9. So yeah, I'm having so much fun, right? I'm re-listening, I'm hearing and remembering. You know, it's like when you see an old picture and it's not like you completely lost that memory, but it brings it back, or you smell a scent and it triggers a memory. That's kind of what this feels like. I'm rereading it and I'm like, oh yeah, that was the state of mind that was in. That was that sort of just like free flowing kind of whatever. There's parts where I'm like, oh, I definitely would have done that differently. And like, you know, and then I say to myself, oh, am I being too critical? Which sort of helps me now to sort of just like breathe and get through and really rock out. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys being so amazing and so dope in making this happen. So I worked on book 9 yesterday. I'm going to work on it again today. I already worked on it a little bit earlier. I'm supposed to tell everyone, please like these lives, please give the hearts, please share to your stream so we can bring more people into Miss Village. We did give away thousands of free books for book 1 through 5 when that was happening, so that was really cool. What else can I tell you? As I said, book 2 of Alpha is already 60 to 80% done. I'm also having some new artwork done. I have some more music that's coming out. So some of these reels that I hope you guys have been enjoying. My boy Simon is hooking that up. He definitely he's helping take the social media stuff to the next level. And so, yeah, I figured that's what I was just going to do. I was going to pop on a lot more often. I was going to come and say what's up to you guys, give you the updates. Some of the notes that I've been messing around with. Okay, so I loved, and I noticed that it was a very common thing that people had underlined, that calling Scion a bloodthirsty Disneyland reject. That was definitely a fun thing to write. I appreciate that. And Beastwick says Alpha was well written, so thank you for that. Please tell some, and you guys, I always sort of like let you know, again, I'm an indie author, no big publishing company. It's just me, a laptop, and you guys, and that has been what has made us a success. Please tell some friends about the AKU, and please leave a review and upvote any reviews you agree with. It really helps me. It's what lets me compete with the big established, kind of things, and helps me to keep the lights on so that I can write more books. So I appreciate that. Oh, okay. So Topher Tech says we got to do something about the ding notifications. You will be happy to know that a new ding is being formulated right now. Pavi, who is super dope, is actually going to go back through Alpha, replace all of the dings, And the one error about the natural healing that nobody should have noticed, we're going to replace that. We're going to re-upload it, and the ding is going to be much more positive, and you'll be happy to know in sort of celebration of 10 years of the AKU, like November 2015 is when it happened. We are going to be releasing a new version of the land, which ideally will be coinciding with new releases of Alpha. And I will leave in a single horrible ding, and then we will have a much more pleasing ding. So, yes, you have spoken, I have listened, and I am fixing it in real time because I am on the case. So I appreciate you guys. Let's see. Perhaps my lovely assistant would turn on the fan because it's so hot. Stryker, you are the goat of my goat, which makes us two goats. I appreciate it. So let's see. All right. So anyway, let me give some shout outs as I often do. So Sean Williamson, thank you. Interesting fact, that was my original name. I don't think we're related. I don't know. Mason Bacalus, what is going on? Keith the Alfred, good to see you, sir. How does Alpha fit into the world compared to Chaos Seeds? So that is clearly asking for some sort of spoiler. So as we all know, and we will bring back, we will be throwing shrapnel popcorn at Keith the Alfred. No spoilers. It's not how we roll. I just like to leave cliffhangers so you die a little bit inside. And that's what really feeds me more than anything else. So, all right, so let me give some what's up over here. Again, thank you guys so much for being on. Please do the likes. I'm trying to figure all the social media stuff, and I've been trained to ask you to do things. Please share on your lives. Please do the likes and the hearts and all that kind of stuff. And if you have any questions, I love to hear them. Otherwise, I will keep rambling and sharing some more of my notes that I've been getting together for Alpha and for Mayhem 2. Maybe I will even read the first chapter of Alpha 2 soon. That could be kind of cool. Oh, and also, I've got like a crap ton of free codes. So if anybody hasn't listened to Alpha yet, just slide into them DMs, and just say, I want that free, need the Alpha code. And I will send you one because Aleron comes with the free. I appreciate you guys. I believe in a simpatico kind of relationship. You know, everybody gets laid. That's basically how I live my life. Had nothing to do with medicine. Anyway, what else can I say to you guys? So Mash, appreciate that. And Topher, I'm really glad that you liked it. Let's see. So who is asking about, all right, Beastwick is asking about God's Eye. So I actually took some notes for God's Eye this morning. My primary focus is Mayhem and finishing book 2 of Alpha. I'm almost positive I'm going to be putting book 2 of Alpha out either at the very end of this year or very, very early next year. But where I'm pouring most of my energy is going back through all the books of the land, organizing my notes, figuring out, there's a couple of different avenues I could go with the book. I don't know if you guys have noticed that there's a couple little things that are happening. So I'm figuring all that out. I will not be writing a book the size of book 7 again. That was insane and took a whole year of my life. And honestly, 7 was always, you guys have noticed 7 numerology is big in the books, and it was always meant to sort of be a tie-in together. So yeah, I'm going to be doing books that are more book length. And yeah, sort of getting that out there. So with all that being said, let me give some more shout outs to anybody. What about the healing? Did we miss the book? Topher Tech, gotta ask me that again. I don't understand. How does one slide into the DMs for Alpha? So just, text me on this medium. So just send me a message and say I need that Alpha code, and I will send you one after this. So I appreciate it. Brian here is asking about book 2 betas. So Geneva, my wonderful assistant, who's not just an AI in Alpha, but though has gotten shout outs in several books of Lit RPG because she is sort of the queen of Lit RPG. Like she has been my ace boom coon from forever and a day ago, and always will be. And so she's the one that sort of decides who gets to do betas, who gets to do arcs. We'll probably open it up officially, maybe even have like a contest, or I like to do a lot of stuff where we raise money for various charities. So maybe we'll do something like that. We are up to $250,000 raised for various charities, which is amazing. So that is dope. Yeah. Sorry. So let me give some what's up. Melissa Manos, good to see you. Daniel Vick, did I hear audio codes? Yes, Daniel Vick, you did hear audio codes. Just shoot me the DM and we will handle that. Scott Penny says, you touched us all, you monster. If I touched all of you, you wouldn't be calling me a monster. You'd be calling me. You all heard it. You all heard it. All right. Daniel Vick says, I'm about to start commuting a long distance from my job, but to redo the entire land. So I hope that you can enjoy the long distance drive. I've always been the kind of person that I would rather miss out on 20 minutes of sleep to start earlier, avoid the traffic, and not feel rushed. It sucks on the front end, but aggregate for stress, I just felt like it was so much less. I don't know. Let me know how you guys roll. All right, so Austin David Bauer says, just got the book this morning. Thank you so much. And again, everyone, indie author, please leave a review. Please tell some friends about the AKU, and please click like on the reviews you agree with. I appreciate it. But yeah, do you guys have any questions, or I can tell you some more of the stuff? So blue forest berries, which may or may not have been a reference to Viagra, obviously, right? I forgot that I had put that joke in there initially. I think that stemmed from a story when I was still in my last year of medical school, and I was shadowing a doctor, a really awesome guy. He talked like an old Southern preacher. He's like, "Ooh, Dr. Kong," he had this "Ooh, Dr. Kong, this guy's CHF is getting out of control, Lord Jesus." He was this crazy, hilarious guy. And he told me that I was shadowing him. And he was like, yeah, so I had to throw away this lotion bottle the other day. I'm like, well, why'd you have to do that? And he goes, well, because it was a lotion bottle that a Viagra drug rep had sent me. And he's like, and every time I turned my back, there were just all the old men were squirting lotion into their mouth as quickly as they could to get away with it. And he's like, yeah, just so many people, people ate 3 bottles of lotion. And I just, there's better ways. There's better ways to do that, guys. You don't need to do it. Love will find a way. That's what we learned from Jurassic Park. So let me say what's up to some of these people. So yeah, over here we are sideways. Let me give some shout outs. G. Seeley, hello. So this is a great question. Alex Dog 2121 said, why did I leave the US? Okay. That's a very multifaceted question, but I will say the top 2 reasons, right? Silly as they may sound, are food and safety. So as you guys, if you have seen me before, there's less face on my face. I am down 85 pounds than I was 1 year ago. I have plenty of photos that you can see. They're all over my social media. But yeah, so that was the thing. That weight loss journey started about 2 years ago, where I came out to Europe. I had turned 40 the December before, but didn't do anything. And I was like, this summer I'm going to do something. So 2 years ago, I went to Europe, and I was planning to pop all around. I just started to learn how to cook, and I was like, I'm going to study with these chefs, in Florence, and do these wine trips. And then I was going to travel through, Switzerland, and then end up in Amsterdam and go crazy with some cookies and whatever, right? But it was during the heat wave. It was so hot. It was ungodly hot. It was 105 degrees when I landed in Rome. No BS. I was sitting in a cafe and saw a tree catch on fire next to me, right? It didn't go, but I was sitting there, and then I just saw all the waiters run out panicking and you look to the side and it had started smoking because everything was so hot and dry. That was the same summer that the tarmacs in Heathrow were literally bubbling. So hot, right? So I landed there. It was 105 degrees. I was like, I'm miserable. And I was in Rome, where, I don't know if it is just, there's no shade. It's built for armies to pass through forever. And I was like, I hate this. And one of my buddies, actually from Atlanta, was like, well, dude, I'm up in the Alps. And I'm like, what's the temperature there? And he's like, 72 degrees. I'm like, fuck it. I canceled the entire 2-week trip all around. I had just enough time to see the Sistine Chapel and the Grand Basilica, bought a plane ticket. 16 hours later, I stepped off the plane in Switzerland, and I was like, oh my God, it was such a relief. I was like, and I was just so, and I don't know if how many of you guys are big guys, but fat guys do not like heat. Everything feels hot. The Arctic Circle feels hot. And so like getting there, it just felt like relief. He let me crash with him and his buddy. They ended up going to Amsterdam for friendship right after that, and they invited me to come. But I had already started like doing like little hikes in the morning, stuff like that, and eating the food there. And I was like, oh my God, this feels amazing. And I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to risk any more heat. I'm going to stay with this. So I spent 2 weeks hiking in the mountains, and I had not felt that physically good for 10 years. I just hadn't. And what I realized is that it wasn't just and I didn't realize this at the time, it wasn't just like the fact that I was in a beautiful area, which it was. It wasn't just the exercise, even though that is also really dope. It's the fact that like eating non-chemicalized food for the first time in, I don't know, ever, right? It was this amazing feeling, right? Excuse me. I didn't know that I could feel differently because I'd always heard from my sister, I would eat some Twizzlers or Skittles. She goes, oh, that's poison. And I'm like, be an American. But I honestly believe it now. Like there's very simple statistics you guys can look up. The European Union allows up to 300 chemicals to be added to the food, right, that they've approved. The United States has approved over 10,000, right? And even worse, the EU has outlawed 2,000 chemicals that can't be added to the food. And the United States has outlawed 9. That's it, right? So I came back again the next summer because I had missed it. And again, I just felt better. Like my bathroom time was no longer painful. That cloud that hit me and a lot of other people, I think it's like commonly called like brain fog. That didn't happen, right? I was sleeping better. My complexion cleared up. The pounds dropped off of me. And that's with like drinking a bunch, and just everything felt better, right? And so one of the top 2 reasons that I moved to Europe is it's just really hard to find clean food in the United States. I had a lot of friends that were international, and I thought they were vegetarians, and so I started traveling with them, and I'm like, why are you guys eating meat? And they're like, we eat meat. We just don't do it in the US because vegetables are the only thing that we can really control. It's the kind of thing that, it sounds super hippy-dippy even as I'm saying it, but I'm telling you, it's a massive difference. So that was one. And 2, the safety, right? Like there's no guns here, and I'm a Southerner. I own guns back home. I grew up shooting. I believe in hunting, and I believe in people's right to have it. But I also believe there is a problem when we have a mass shooting every day, and I don't have to worry about that here. I don't have to worry about some of the other things that we've normalized. It seems like half of the country hates the other half, and that's not really cool. So those are sort of the 2 main reasons. It's sort of been one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life. It's just really chill, I get to wake up, have a good day, walk around, not stress, not feel bad. Like when I eat, it feels like it's nourishing me. There's this joke from Louis C.K. where he goes into his doctor, and the doctor's like, you got to lose weight. And he goes, yeah, obviously. And he's like, well, what happens when you're full? And Louis C.K. says, oh, I don't stop eating when I'm full. I stop eating when the shame is high enough that I just can't reconcile shoving more food into this hole at the top of my body. And when the shame lowers, I start shoving food in again. And that was something that really hit me. So anyway, that's a long answer for why I didn't leave the U.S. I chose a path that fit me better. So I hope that answers it. All right, let me give some more shout outs. Me and my old coworker really bonded over the land. I'm glad. Manny Problems 3. What else can I answer? Thanks for the free books. You are quite welcome, Alex Dog. All right, so let me answer this one. All right. So yeah. Okay. Let me give some more shout outs. So Sean Williamson, we already bonded. All right, so Anthony and Brown says it's true. Military service had him live in Europe for 12 years of his adult life, and yeah, I mean it's really different. And it's the kind of thing, again, I get it sounds really hippy dippy just to talk about food and how important it is, but it's like, let's say that you had a plant and you like told your friend like plants keep dying, I don't know what to do, and your friend was like, well, how much sunlight and water are you giving it? And you're like, sunlight and water? It would look like you're an idiot. Like outside of light and air, the food that we eat is sort of the stimulus we get the most in life, right? And like we get that stimulus 3 times a day. So it's like if you give yourself a healthy stimulus 3 times a day, you'll probably have a better outcome than if you give yourself a non-healthy stimulus 3 times a day. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, I have been out here, in answer to your question, BB, I've been out here in Portugal for the last 6 months, and it's been really, really, really dope. And one of the reasons I chose here too is because I still have a lot of family and friends in the US, and it's a quick flight. 6.5 hours to get from Boston to Portugal, 6.5 hours to get from Boston to LA, effectively the same thing. So yeah, that's it. So Hot Pocket says, thanks for the great book. He's about halfway through Alpha. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. And Zachary Hanley, what's up, trucker friends? Yeah, I feel like truckers are the ideal audiobook listeners. You guys must listen to audiobooks more than anyone else. If there's a way for me to connect with more of your friends, or you want to send some your friends over here for some free codes, we can make that happen. So slide into them DMs, Zachary Hanley. So Topher Check, don't nobody talked about natural healing. That wasn't real. What's up, TJ? Good to see you. Anthony and Brown loves Portugal. And so that was another reason I moved to Portugal. I had never been to Portugal before, I didn't know anything about it. But somehow, as I'm thinking about like where I might want to go, everyone I talk to has a story about Portugal. My sister moved there. My brother went there and it was awesome. My best friend goes twice a year. I went and I never forgot about it. Like everyone had something really nice to say. So yeah, that was super dope. Cool. All right, so Sean wants to know, has Netflix reached out yet? No, but just so we're really clear, totally willing to sell out Netflix. Let's make this happen. Not a complicated guy. You know, not a pro-union guy. Mr. Evercraft is asking when I want to make The Land a show in animation. I mean, basically same thing. I would love to have that happen, right? Like, that's the brass ring. I mean, in addition to like the fact that this is my business, even more so, like I'm a real fan like you guys. Like that's how I got into this. And like having a dope animation come out, something like along the lines of like Castlevania, Goblin Slayer, yeah, not quite as macabre and dramatic as Attack on Titan. It's a great thing, but like there's a lot of crying in there. This is not really my jam. But like, there's so many amazing animations that are coming out that I think are outperforming live cast. Though, if I could work with anybody, Donald Glover, boom, that would be amazing. And obviously President Reeves, who is just the dopest. But yeah, I would love to have that happen. With the way the world is going, I imagine I'll probably just make my own animation in 10 years. Maybe I'll start a studio out in Japan or something like that. I am Japanese. But yeah, like that would be amazing, but I would rather it not be made than be turned into like all jokes aside, like with this whole thing, like I would rather it not be made than turn into some teeny bopper made for TV, just pretty people like walking around. Like that sucks. Like, and The Land is very emotionally like resonant and personal for me. The AKU is, so yeah, I think that would be really, really cool. If there's any producers on here that want to make it happen, just let me know. So that would be cool. Hey, Susie Buck, it's good to see you. So yeah, I have some free codes for Alpha, maybe even some free codes for The Land. So if you guys are missing one, slide in the DMs. I will pick a couple random people. I can't always promise to give everyone, but I will give as many as I can. So please do that. Let me give some more answers. All right, so you guys are just gonna have to go sideways for a second because this is looking cray. All right, there we go. That's better. So one Nasties great name, and you made me say it. Says, I don't care what book Doc is working on, just love when his speed writing phase. Yeah, so I mean, like, I would love to get into that speed writing phase too. Again, it was an amazing time for all of us to be alive, right? Like, I wrote the first book of the land in 6 weeks. First key to publishing on Amazon was 6 weeks. That is insane. And I wrote the first 6 books of the land in 14 months. I don't know if I will hit, I mean, that's like, Hendrix right before he lights, his guitar on fire. Like, I don't know if I will ever be in that sweet spot again. But I am saying that I am definitely in the zone. I'm definitely having a dope time writing. And more than anything else, I took the time that I needed for my health, less face on my face, less pressure on my heart, greater clarity of mind, all that stuff. Love in my life. Looking happy over there. So the communication is a lot easier before. I had to take a step back from social media, the trolls, the BS, the drama, the expectations that, yes, there were some ravenous fans, which I'm very lucky to have. But I was also obviously putting some of that on myself. So yeah, that's just sort of like where I am now. And so that's kind of what this is. As I said, I've been re-listening to the audiobooks of the land, usually when I'm going for a jog or a bike ride in the morning, taking notes, writing out little scenes, going through some notes of like really cool scenes that like I basically partially wrote out at like 2 a.m. like 3 years ago. And I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot I wrote that, but it plays. Bloop, bloop. So that's kind of cool, right? And I'm going to be letting you guys know how that works. And again, my goal and hope, because Alpha 2 is basically 60 to 80% done, is to have that out by the end of this year or early January. And again, shout out to Pavi. And yes, for anyone that's coming in now, we are working on a more pleasing ding, and Pavi in his infinite majesty has agreed to rejigger the files, and I will re-upload them, and we will be doing the same thing for the land. A single horrible ding will be kept in for nostalgia, and then I will be making it more pleasing for for the years to come. Derry Hansen, it is good to see you. Hello. Oh, Young Doc 85. This guy has been saving lives forever. It is good to see you. I'm out in Portugal. Why aren't you out in Portugal? We got to figure that out. You have my personal number. Don't put it on here. But hit me up, dude. I'll be back sometime soon, and we got to figure out how we can make this happen. Ryan, I appreciate that you're glad I'm feeling better. I am glad I'm feeling better. Matthew Coggins, I am live, my man. That is how it goes. Yeah, so I mean, Mr. Evergraft is saying, I hope if it becomes a show, it isn't toned down for family-friendly. And I mean, yeah, that's kind of the thing. I'm not completely inflexible. Like, if there was a kind of thing where they were like, well, like, we don't want to, there's a certain amount of swearing we have to keep under. And I'm like, yeah, I love swearing. So that's why I do it and why I write about it. But it's not like there aren't other ways to sort of communicate. But if there was something where they were like, oh, well, we don't think that this is an important scene to keep in. And I'm like, well, it is very important because it touches on things that really affect our society. And I think it's an important topic to discuss. And they're like, well, we don't want to make people uncomfortable. Then I'm like, well, then you're talking to the wrong person. There's certain modalities I won't fit in. There were a lot of authors when I first came out, they were like, yeah, man, you got to write for YA, young adult. That's where all the money is. And it is true. There was a lot of great money there. There's a lot of great money in a lot of things. But I thought it was important that I write my voice my way, and have it evolve as I want to. So again, very flexible because I want to make it happen. But there are certain non-negotiables for me. So we'll see. We'll see how it all happens. Maybe I'm just whistling Dixie. All right, let me give some more shout outs. Let me give some waves. And again, everyone that's on, please like the streams. It helps bring more people alive. Please tell friends and share it on your page or whatever. If you can, that'd be really, really dope. So let's see. How do I keep track of XP? Gore Otaku says, with reference documents, and it is a pain in the ass. I don't know how other people do it, but I have Excel sheets. I have I have actual physical papers that I like write down what happens in each chapter that I then cross-reference. And every time you change something, you have to go back through the beginning and redo all the math. That is something that I I like that style of book. I think that the thing that makes lit RPG really, really dope is two things. Well, one, we get the dopamine hit. Anyone who's ever played Candy Crush. But two, it's the accountability. It's the fact that you can't just suddenly get stronger. I think it's really lazy writing. I think it pulls us out. Even for stories that we forgive it in, it still like sucks. Now, if your guy is Superman and you can beat everyone all the time, that's still accountable. There's nothing wrong with that. And so like, as far as the XP and the numbers and whatever, it's a real pain in the butt, honestly. But it's part of what I think makes the stories more realistic as well. So that's why I put so many hours into it. And you know, I hope that you guys appreciate it. I mean, it seems like you do. So there you go. So the real Tyler Stumpf says, do I have an approximate length for book 9? I don't. There's obviously so many things that need to go into. I promise I will not ignore in any way the Mist Village. The Mist Village is actually going to be crazy prominent. Book 8 was a solo quest basically for Richter because of the 7 numerology. It was always meant to be like a return to the beginning where he was without his allies, he was without all of his amazing gear, he was without whatever. And it was just like, can he in this dark place survive? Can he show that he has what it takes to do it himself? But as I'm going back through like, you know, the audiobooks now, like, man, I missed this. I missed these characters. I missed the interplay between Scion and Richter and the jokes and the way that they fuck each other over, because that's what real best friends do. I missed it. So yeah, that's going to be huge, as well as the other chaos seeds that you will be seeing. So many chaos seeds, more chaos seeds than you can fit in your mouth at once. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm having a lot of fun, like, you know, fine-tuning and sanding down some of the magical systems that I've been putting into place for years, taking random notes at random times. And yeah, and the villains, I'm super excited about the villains that I put into book 9. That's a lot of fun. And the overall progression of the Basilisk Alliance and what that means and all the different things that have sort of come together. The ship will be built. So I don't have an approximate length. I may do it shorter. I may do it longer. I'll just sort of do what feels good, but I will definitely be communicating with you guys and letting you know what's going on. And yeah, like putting early stuff up for my patrons. But let me just be really clear, because I haven't said it in a long time. I'm so thankful for my patrons on Patreon. You guys have helped. Half the money goes to charity, half goes to marketing. You totally help the land in real life and in the books to make a difference. But I never will rush, no matter what level you pledge at. So if you want to wait for the books, or that's totally fine. Never feel pressed. I appreciate you so much, but I just have to be really clear about that. Half the money goes to charity, half goes to marketing, and that's basically how it works. But it also funds, like, part of the marketing is some of these new songs that we're getting together and some of the new, like, artwork and stuff like that. The manga, I'm thinking I'm going to re-release, because I did a manga for basically all of book 1. And some of it's for free right now on litrpg.com if you want to check it out. So yeah, that's what's happening. Okay. So King Callset, I'm glad that you were scrolling and could see here. And thank you so much. Wonderful and magical and dark and gritty. That's basically how they describe me. So I'm happy that came across in the book. All right, TJ, go enjoy Golden Master 2. Appreciate you, man. And I'm glad you like the way I write the villains. Keisha Gibbs, what's going on? Kyle Wilkinson, lots of danger. Oh, lots of danger is coming. Chaotic auras you cannot walk around with them ever. So that is a good thing. Like, so I said I was missing the characters. What characters are you missing? Shout them out. What is the character you miss the most out of the land? I would love to know. So Jordan Petrovic says, listening to Alpha right now. I appreciate it. And as always, as I keep saying, please leave a review when you're done. Please click like on the reviews you agree with, and please tell some friends about the AKU. It is awesome. Oof, man, I'm sorry about your cat, wild zoologist. Let's see. Wait, the land is coming back. The land is definitely coming back. I never gave up on it. I just didn't give up on me. That's actually the best way to say it. I never gave up on the land. I never gave up on the AKU. I never gave up on Richter. I just chose me for what I needed to write for the next 50 years over trying to push something out when I wasn't in the right healthy space. And I really appreciate the fact that you guys are still here with me all of these years later. I am just so appreciative. I have the best fans in the world. Thank you. And I understand impatience and I understand being concerned. But I'm in it. And as long as you guys are here, you will be getting more books. So I appreciate it. All right. So who are the ones? All right. So Leslie Sedlak says the character she's missing the most is Tammy too. There's going to be some shenanigans there. Roswan, definitely. Scott Penny wants another voicemail. So if you guys don't know, this is something that I made forever ago. If you're on my Facebook page, there is a phone number on the Facebook page. And if you call it, there's a fun little thing that was just sort of an Easter egg that I hid that I stopped talking about years ago. But it's still up, I think. So I hope that you guys enjoy that. Let's see. What's up, Eric McCabe? Oh, Keisha Gibbs is breaking our heart talking about Calder. Roswan, Shinecatcher was Bilal's. Yoshi, I do love Yoshi too. Yoshi is actually my uncle. I don't know if you guys know that. Both of my uncles sadly have passed. One's name was Koichi. He's the oldest. Then there was Yoshi. Yoshi was a actor and was taken way too early. And they're my namesakes because my middle name is Koyoshi. So for Koichi and Yoshi. It's sort of a custom in my family that everyone gets a Japanese middle name because my grandfather was a black GI in World War II and he was stationed in Japan where he met my grandmother who was a full-blooded Japanese woman. My mother was born on a naval base in Japan. It brings my heart a lot of joy to know that that I could give honor to my uncles by, immortalizing them in these characters that people love. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Kyle wants to hear from Alma. Alma is the best. I absolutely agree. Alma's the best. Oh, Geneva's here. Creeper. So she shared the number if you guys want to call it. Does it still work? Because that would be really funny. So Anthony Glenn wants to see more of the Labyrinth. That is dope because I am going to share more of the Labyrinth. I'm not going to lie though. I'm really almost emotional as I'm going back through these books on the land and just so excited to it feels like I'm seeing old friends that I haven't talked to for a long time, that I didn't realize how much I missed, It's kind of cool. Please leave some likes. Please share these streams to your page to bring more people into the AKU. I appreciate it. The hearts are super duper helpful. That's how this works, I think. The likes and the hearts and yada, yada, yada. All right, so let me give some more shout outs. How is the weather in South America? I don't know, because I'm in Europe. But yeah, I hear it's good, except for, and guys, all jokes aside, peace and blessings and all the positive energy to the people that are suffering from the hurricane. Went over Jamaica. That wasn't great. Also where part of my family's from. But I hope everyone is safe. Everyone's safe. Okay, so dun dun dun. Oh, Sajin, hello. Good to see you. Old friend from Dartmouth. And yes, farmers markets are real but they're so expensive, right? I'm not going to go on a rant. I promised myself I will not go on any more rants about different places to live on the earth. But I will say, I am a American. I like barbecue and boobs and bombs and Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm a dude. You guys know, you've read the books, you know I'm a dude. And I am telling you, I'm also a scientist, and you feel different eating this food. You just feel different. You cannot compare the two. And anyone that's struggling with weight, which is all Americans, it is so much easier, and it does not need to be some crazy planned out whatever. There are always communities that do halal stuff and stuff like that makes it a little bit easier. But if you would just do a challenge of 10 days of just eating food that was not chemicalized, you'd be shocked how different you feel and how like your body was trimming down. So yeah. Anyway, I wish, because I want all the best things for you guys. I really, really do. So, all right, let me give some more shocks. Nope, didn't go over there. You are definitely welcome to visit. Blah, blah, blah. What was your favorite chat? So, G. Seeley saying, what was your favorite chapter to write and why is it a specific infamous chapter in book 8? So, I added chapter 37. So, first of all, I have to give you guys one of the most insane reviews I ever got. It was 1 out of 5 stars after book 8 came out. And please, no low blows. I know it wasn't everyone's favorite book, but it was 1 out of 5 stars, not because he didn't like the book, but because he thought I was attacking God. He was like, everyone knows God is the Trinity. That's the 3. Everyone knows the holy number is 7. Aleron is shitting on God. Took it a little far, dude. Took it a little far. I added the chapter 37 scene, honestly, because I was like, my character is getting so powerful. What is the one thing that all people throughout the cosmos have in common? And that is everyone has Taco Bell sometimes and pays the consequences. So that is why I wrote the chapter 37 scene. And it was fun to write because, I classically had some problems gastrointestinally. Like I just said, one of the main reasons I moved across an ocean was for clean food. So yeah, that's why. All right, let's see. Let me give some more shout outs. All right, so before I do that, let me tell you about some other fun things that I'm doing. So yeah, the mocking prompts. Like when Richter was initially learning herb lore and it said, why don't you use those shovels at the end of your hands to to dig something up for your mom or something like that. I'm assuming everyone's read the books at this point, but yeah, the explanation I had for the prompts was that not everyone was mocked. It was instead sort of a reflection of your own subconscious, right? That was like the labyrinth was just sending you info, and your brain turned it into these things. And I had a lot of fun with that. And then the books were taking a more sort of serious tone. I've mentioned before that some of my literary heroes were C.S. Lewis. And with the Chronicles of Narnia, and that was very much supposed to be a progression from childhood to manhood. That's why the books become more serious as they went on, and also one of the reasons Seven numerology was important to me. So I kind of got away from that for a little bit, but now that we're back on a new 7 cycle, I actually have been playing with a lot of different things to bring some of the snark back to the prompt, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to writing more about the Hearth Mother and her backstory. What actually was the magical staff that was used against them when the village was attacked? That's going to be a very, very fun thing. And the herb garden, Richter's initial spawn point. There are several storylines that I had evolved around that I had never quite touched on, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing how all that's going to play out. So Mr. Evercraft says, any plans for LGBTQ characters? So I've been asked this before, right? I have LGBTQ characters in the books. I was actually I think I put book 4 out, and I got some 1-star reviews for writing characters that were LGBTQ. And I was like, well, fuck those guys. So I got it listed, and it was actually the #1 fantasy novel on Amazon, #1 LGBTQ fantasy novel on Amazon for 4 months. As far as a main character, I don't have any issue against it, but I feel like when I'm trying to write stories that and perspectives that I know, I have friends that are, and so intersections of characters, but I would really want to be I'm writing this character from this standpoint for this reason, and not just to I don't know, chase whatever money was being able to show that I'm even more diverse than I am. So maybe we'll see if I'm ever moved to be so. But honestly, I've got so many other stacks of stories, even outside of the main 3, which I'm not going to keep writing tributaries, guy. I'm not going to keep writing tributaries. But yeah, so I don't know, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what we get there. Leaf Johnson, you're late to the party, but you're always here. It's good to see you. So Cody Starkey has just given me the best compliment that I can get. He says his son is halfway through book one. When families can read my books together, it's like one of the dopest things that I can imagine. The fact that like families can bond through like, my words and worlds, it's just like, it's a humility, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, like family can be a little tough. It can be a little tough. So anything that can make that a little easier, anything that can like create better bonds is dope. Thank you so much for sharing that, man. I really appreciate it. I really do. So Leslie says, I love the progression was so natural that Richter in Science first fights unlock his first power. Yes. I've written several scenes that were very difficult. The scene with the bad chaos seed, was very difficult for me to write, as a man, because I was trying to write about something that has affected way too many women, so that was difficult. But a sort of like tear jerker scene that like still kind of pulls at me a little bit, was the end of book 7, with the interplay between Richter and Scion. I have written what I believe to be an amazing counterpoint to that'll be coming out very soon. Like, I think it's like super dope, so I look forward to you guys being able to do that sometime soon. What else can I say? Hold on. There's all these different pop-ups and stuff like that. Okay, so let me give some more shout-outs. My husband, all right, so Angel Meek says her husband started listening to book 3 and you're listening to Alpha. Thank you so much. As always, and so I said it before, I've got some free codes for Alpha. So if you guys want some free codes, just send me a DM, give me that free and want that code. And I've even got some for the land. So depending on where you are in the land, if you need a free code for the next one, shoot me a DM. I love to come with the free for you guys. I can't always give it to everyone, but I'm going to do it as much as I can. So yes, and so The Alchemist and her wife are actually based on 2 very real world people who are some of the most amazing people that I've ever met, and might actually be joining me out here in Portugal. So that's really cool. So Edwin says, are we gonna have food poisoning? Like, food poisoning is part of the land. Have you read book 8? That's what's happening. You don't cook with magic. That's how it all works. Yeah. So let's see. Let me give some waves, because I guess that's important. And so Zared says, visit the Canary Islands, wonderful part of Portugal. There's so many different parts that I still want to go to. There's so many different parts that like I just want to drive around. Being here, a lot of the time was taken up with finishing Alpha. A lot of the time was taken up with logistical things of like, living in another country. But one of the things that I'm really excited about is just mobbing around. There's so many. It's really, really cool and interesting to be in a place where the countries are basically the size of states. And when I first came here, everyone kept saying, oh my God, the US is so big. Oh my God, the US is so big, which it is. It is a massive landmass compared to, you look up the square kilometers, it is massive. But like also now realizing how impactful that is on your experience and the evolution of culture. Like where I lived in Atlanta, if you drove 2 hours in any direction, basically anywhere in Georgia, at the end of those 2 hours, you're going to run into the cousin of the dude you just left. The view, like the religion's kind of the same, the music is kind of the same, the language is certainly the same, the views are the same. Like we're very huge, and the geography as you traveled, like you have to go for days to really get sort of a different kind of vibe, even just in like the food that's being prepared, right? If you drop someone randomly in Europe and drive for 2 hours in any direction, you are in another millennia old culture with a completely different language, possibly different religion, different views towards men and women, different views towards like the food that they eat, the books they read, the music they listen to. And so it's this sort of like smush of cultures, not like of something that like slowly like changes the overall color of the, the whole like, glass of Kool-Aid, but just sort of a never ending whatever. And some of it's like quite frustrating for a lot of people, and some of it's quite amazing. So like just being able to like do that is also stimulating me. Like I've been learning more about the folklore of Portugal, like some of the old mythology, and it's like, oh my God, what a cool thing to sort of integrate. So yeah, that's it's kind of amazing. It's kind of humbling, and I'm really looking forward to being able to educate myself more about a lot of different things, and seeing how I can work in. Like, I'm learning how to cook more. I would put my skill level at about like a 12. So I'm no longer like a novice. I'm like an initiate. But even with that, like, I get a curiosity and excitement about putting this together, or like I'll just be at a farmer's market and I'll smell something and it smells so intense. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to go great in a salsa. Or, oh my God, I'm marinating these wings. I'm going to put this over that. It's kind of fun. It's kind of dope. Gnomes rule, Trekkie 13. So yeah. So anyway, it's kind of cool. I'm excited about it. Big Gizness says, I fear the day I have my own chapter 37. Well, don't fear the day, because if you have not had a chapter 37 yet, just count your blessings that you have not had a chapter 37 yet, because that is the great equalizer. Let me just put it like that. Josh, your wife is in Europe. I hope she's enjoying it. So Patrick Gregory says, thanks for making the first 5 books free. Thank you for bringing another person to the Miss Village, dude. Appreciate it. That are still too young to understand the cheese. I agree, Kyle Wilkinson. So Alex Pericleus says, I can't do the Seymour, says, the land has so many possibilities for different routes that Victor could have perused. And I can't see more, sadly. It's not letting me open it. So Bilal Williams, this is a great question. Bilal Williams says, I enjoy the existing narrators, any chance of a black narrator. Absolutely. So it is very important to me as a black creative that people know that, one, I'm black, because I really believe representation matters. It's important to me that people know that I'm writing a black main character, because I grew up on the same stories you did, and they gave me a lot of inspiration for times that I've stood up for the little guy and other things like that. But it means more when there's characters that you look up to that also look like you. And it's easy to sort of separate yourself from that as an adult. But imagine like being a kid, and the easiest way that I can ever say it, usually for like the guys that are listening, is like, imagine the only heroes you ever heard about growing up were women. You never heard about a male hero. That might stick in your craw. Other people of other demographics kind of feel the same way. So I would love to work with all different types of artists, and I would love specifically to work with an African-American narrator that I felt we both work well together. I will say that in my experience working with creatives, it's kind of like herding cats on horseback. There's an amazing Super Bowl commercial that looks like that. There is a lot of ego. There's 4 basic things that I've come up with. Let me see if I can remember them. As far as working with creative, communication is the number 1. Every relationship says that's the most important, and I agree. Look at any Vogue magazine, whatever. If you cannot communicate well in pursuit of just creating something well, it's not going to work out. The next is reliability. And I think that you can find that anywhere, but it's hard to find most places. I want you to think about the number of people that in your life, you're like, that guy or girl is reliable. So that's the second most important thing. And then after that comes artistic talent. After the communication and the reliability comes artistic talent. And then the last thing is artistic creativity. Because one of the reasons that I work with a different narrator for each of my 3 series is that I take a lot of pride in what I bring to the table as a creative. I think I do a good job. I'm proud of the writer that I am. I'm proud of the writer that I'm becoming. But I'm a guy. And if I can work with other people that are also honing their craft, right, then like what I could have made with Nick and Alpha would have gone here. But what I was able to make with Pavi and Alpha was able to grow here. And by taking my art in a different direction with these different kinds of energy, I'm growing more globally, if that makes sense to you. But I would love to do that. Absolutely. So Troy said, are we going to see more city building? Yes, you are absolutely going to see more city building for the Miss Village. But you're going to see a crap ton of city building for God's Eye. God's Eye was always meant to be more of an RTS. And then I kind of got lost in the overall sort of like build up and story of them. And like it made a lot, it really mattered to me that I was pouring a lot of heart and soul into the magic system. I feel like that's what I'm the best at, creating unique magic systems and worlds that are accountable, and also into the tribe itself, and its overall take and personality. It's more supposed to be aligned with like some of the Native American tribes that I've studied and that I'm friends with. These sort of like, I don't know, I mean, like, it's obviously it's extremely variable, but like there's like a joy and a strength and a adherence to tradition, but also in a reverence that a lot of my friends have that makes this like really interesting juxtaposition. So that kind of is what book one of God's Eye sort of became. But like what I'm really looking forward to, again, the thing I'm best at is the magical building system that goes into it. And it's really not easy to come up with new magic systems that are all fit as part of the larger magic system of the Labyrinth. It's really, 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 really not easy. So I hope you guys are appreciating it. What else can I say to you guys? What's the barbershop situation? It's actually pretty good. Like, you know, like, I mean, this is not, so I got a cut about like 3 days. If you're not black, this is probably like, a good haircut is like how you show you're not just faffing through life. So like I was a little concerned about it because somebody that's able to do like, and this is a very simple haircut, right? Like it's a fade with a line. And I definitely cleaned it up myself with a Mach 3. But yeah, no, I got my boy Gwinsley over here. He does good, pretty cheap, very reliable. You can book online and they're always on time without a wait. Unheard of, I know. That is my weird doorbell. So what's up? So Troy Strauss says, I like how you honor my family in my books. Thank you. I do. There's shout outs to, and so like you guys have read Alpha now or you haven't. And again, some free codes. So feel free to hit me up in the DMs and I'll try to send you like pick several people every time about some codes. But shout out to Brent Roth. One of the very first American lit RPG authors, somebody that brought me under. That's a lot of bubble wrap. Can you hand me that, please? Can you hand me? Was that Eddie? Okay. So this is what happens when you have a friend who's way too helpful and you ask for some bubble wrap. Jesus Christ, my guy. I mean, how many bodies am I supposed to wrap up in this? What is happening? It's almost like a condom size. So anyway, yeah, that's an insane amount of bubble wrap. It is an insane amount of bubble wrap. Anonymous has been defending me since day one. Thank you. If you've been doing this since day one, you remember how fucking crazy that was back in the day. I'm happy that things are more chill and happy and holistic. One of the things that I poured a lot of energy into when I was first writing wasn't just the fact that I was working a full-time job as a physician, and it wasn't just writing the books, it was building the community, because I fell in love with lit RPG. I had to learn, I knew nothing about social media. And so when I was building the initial like social media, because the lit RPG group on Facebook was the very first social media outlet for lit RPG in the world. And it has springboarded a lot of amazing authors' careers and that's what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to be an open forum for everyone. And that led to a lot of drama and a bunch of other, oh God, so much. But it is also through the tireless work of the moderators, through you awesome fans, through really, really dope authors. It has still become what the community is today. Like the lit RPG community to me feels like a bunch of true fans, some of which have become authors, who are writing for the love of the game in addition to like the practical things, but like almost all of them are writing for the love of the game with a very thin layer of separation between the fans and the writers, and a sort of communal safe space in general for people on the internet where many people do not have safe spaces. And that culture, I want you to think about how rare it is to come across that on the internet, and then think about how hard the mods and myself and Geneva and you fans and like for anyone that is coming in now, how hard it was to to establish that, and how pissy people got that you told them they couldn't do certain things. It was not dope. So I do appreciate the help. Really, really, really. So Heroes Wear Boots says, Aleron, drop another land book and his life is mine. It's not your life I want, buddy. So let's see. Some more shout outs. Yeah, so I'm gonna get out of here soon because I am sweating. So K-Man, I'm not gonna reference it. People can search for your comment or whatever, but that is going to be happening sometime soon for various things. I've been seeing some of the amazing things. Thank you. Woman behind the scenes. I've been looking at some of the amazing things out because my literary hero has always been Brandon Sanderson. I got to meet him. I touched his face a lot. Sweaty hands on his face. And he was so cool about it. He's amazing. I think he's one of the most prolific writers. I mean, he is one of the most prolific writers of our times. Mr. Evercraft, I'm happy that I was able to help in that. Mr. Evercraft wrote his own Lit RPG books. I'm happy I was able to sort of help with that. Awesome. So I mean, you guys have seen, I'm sure, he's the most top 2 funded Kickstarters in human history, and has been doing amazing things with it. And like my standard of like amazing is just the Terminator level of book production, and everything that he does is Brandon Sanderson. And I don't know if I will ever be that, which is fine because I'm this, and which is super dope. But definitely there's some things that he's doing that I'm hoping to incorporate. And either way, I would just say that having met him, he's just an amazing, amazing guy who was very kind to me as a young gunslinger back in the day. All right. Let me give some more shout outs to Samified. Good to see you. Call me Simon. That's my boy, best friend. He's the one that you guys are enjoying all this like awesome new social media stuff. So if you like it, leave some hearts. It really helps the algorithm apparently. And if there's like some stuff that you guys are like, oh, I follow these other pages and I would love to see that here, send it over. We will incorporate it if we can. We're going to get some more skits together. I don't know if you guys know, but we have like a whole bunch of skits from back in the day that we will be repurposing and throwing up too. Not just Tooth Baby, which is at the bottom of my TikTok, creepy as fuck, but like some other stuff because it's fun and the creativity flows in a lot of different ways. And I think that the more avenues that I can express myself creatively through artwork, through music, through sketch comedy, through whatever, the more dope energy I'll be able to bring to the books, right? Like the books will always be the main thing, but like I don't ever want to just be a writer who does things. I think that's one of the pitfalls that I fell into of feeling trapped by my success when Book 8 came out, of feeling like I needed to perform, North Korea, right? And so it feels fun again because it's fun again. So we'll be doing that. All right. Redeemer12 says, loving alpha. I really appreciate it. Please leave a review when you're done. And yes, please send all the likes when we do these lives. Please share the lives to your pages so we can bring more people to AKU. And whenever you're done, I'm an indie author. Please leave a review. That is dope. Kareem Marshall, my ace, held my back 6 weeks, 5 days. Good to see you, sir. Appreciate you, sir. Yes, Pavi is doing alpha. And for anyone that's come later, I've heard you about the ding. It is a little loud. Definitely wasn't my fault. Somebody else's fault. Hold on. I think I need to do this. Boom. So yeah, that is happening, but we're redoing it. And I will also be using so Nick will always, Edwin Sands, Nick will always be doing the original series because Nick is my boy for life. But like I said, I wanted to work with different people for different things. And there's a couple really, 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 really cool surprises that hopefully I'll be able to tell you guys about soon. They're so big and monumental that it's sort of hard. It's been hard to logistically get them off the ground. But I'm there's just so many cool things coming down the pipeline. All right. Let me give some more shout outs. It'll be a horrible day for stop. Yeah, I'm not going to stop. I know how it is. Book 8 was amazing. Thank you. How can they diss Book 8, right? So Melanie Mayhem is saying, is the comic still out? So the comic is out. It's free on litrpg.com. I think like the first 15 chapters are free. I have more that I'll be putting out. I just haven't. But if you want to check it out now, litrpg.com. Check out the manga. It's really fun. It's free. I did it for you guys in the last years. So, dun dun dun. Okay, so the real Tyler Stump says missing the interaction between Calder and Shinecatcher. Very sad. Dun dun dun. So Delroy Rashane says, real quick, Sanderson recently decided to let another author write in his universe. Is that something you would trust someone on? Probably not, honestly. And it's not that I wouldn't, that's not clear. It's not that there aren't authors that I wouldn't trust. It's that, one, my novels are so, like, personal for me, right? It certainly would not make things go faster because I feel like I would be involved. It's like I would be in the kitchen looking over the dude's shoulder or dudette's shoulder, like, all the time. And two, like, it's really personal and hard to work with another author and creative because it's not like a corporation. Like it's a whole emotional journey that you're doing. And so I would not only need to find someone that wrote in a way that I feel like was going to work well, like not even just like the level of writing, but would work well in my universe, but are we going to vibe well enough that we're not going to be like banging heads together? Because if it's not fun, there's no point. Like that's it. Like I feel like one of the reasons people like my books is that I'm having fun while I'm writing it. And I think that comes across subliminally the same way you can hear when someone's smiling on the other end of the phone. I fully believe that. So yeah, I'm not going to say never. I never say never, but that's not something that where I really am at all right now. But we'll see. All right. So what else can I answer before I get out of here? Innuendo. Can't wait for the next one. Thank you so much, Destin. We need a Miss Village gang sign. I moved to Portugal to get away from it. But we actually have a symbol that we do. It's very uncomfortable on your wrists, but it makes an M and a V up here, if you can see that. I don't know if this is making you uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable. But yeah, this is the Miss Village sign. But it fell out of favor because of all the dislocated wrists. So we weren't thinking far enough ahead. So Just Mike says, the books keep you entertained. Thank you so much. Please tell some friends. I really appreciate that. Great question. So Big Business says, any recent books that you've read and enjoyed? I'm constantly reading. What's one that I've so actually, the last several times I was asked a question, I talked about a lit RPG. One thing that I've reread recently was The Tao of Pooh. It was a book that I read, very thin, by Benjamin Hoff. I read it for the first time probably 25 years ago. And it really aligned my perceptions. It really put sometimes you have things swirling in the back of your head for days, maybe even years. And it's the way it feels and it's even guiding how you're walking through the world. But you don't really have the words for it, right? This put a lot of things in perspective for me. A lot of very simple answers to very complex questions that did not try to say, and this is the way the world works. It instead says, this is an approach that may help you one day understand better how the world works. So yeah, that is something that I recommend. Something that I recommend watching for all of you is I really recommend watching Blue Zones on Netflix. It's one of the reasons that I moved to Portugal. It puts a lot of things in perspective. Basically, blue zones are areas on the planet that have greater concentrations of longevity, like more centenarians, 100-year-olds, and health than other places on the world, and why that happens. It's a good thing to watch with the family or just to sort of check out. We're always looking for something new to watch on Netflix. Feels like there's something on. So if you're looking for something, I really recommend watching Blue Zones. And if you think something about it, please let me know. I would love to talk to you guys about it. All right. I think I am going to get out of here. So Bond says, I write bad guys so great. Can you do a spinoff as a bad guy's main character? So Bond wants me to write a 4th series. Is everyone cool with that? Because I'm cool with it. You guys are You guys are cool with it? I would love to do that. Really, really, really. One Nasty says, what author do I get my most inspiration from? It's impossible to say. I've read thousands and thousands of books. I can give you some of my greatest shout outs, right? It's like saying like, who affected you the most growing up? Some of us have one person, but a lot of it's like collective. First shout out is to Octavia Butler, African-American female writer. She's now passed. I was fortunate enough to talk to her granddaughter one time, but she let me know that it was possible, and also wrote novels that were atypical. They weren't just and not in any way to sort of minimize. They weren't like the Lord of the Rings paradigm, which is amazing. Love the Lord of the Rings. But like that was sort of how books were written for a while. And she broke away and broke the mold. And a lot of my writing, I would literally think about English teachers that like I just couldn't stand and laugh as I did things that I knew they would hate as I put them in the books. So sort of being a rule breaker was very much part of it. Brandon Sanderson, with just his overall epicness. I do not write like him, but when I think about sort of massiveness of universe while also keeping the personalization, like there's a reason that for the things that he puts in, the magic has a reason, or at least the magic has sculpted the reason. I very much think about that. Like the number one thing that sort of makes the land different from a lot of the others is the affinity system for the skills, right? Not everyone is going to be able to be good at everything. I did that because I think the greatest power of sci-fi fantasy isn't the dragons and the zombies. It's the fact that you can create a fantastic situation to better help you examine the human condition. Right? Walking Dead wasn't popular because of zombies. It was popular because you were looking at humanity with all pretense stripped away and what that looked like. And so like for me, the affinity system really does just sort of look at the way that the world works now, where it's like, not everyone is going to be able to be good at something. There are people that are going to have broken hearts because they want to be an amazing stand-up comic and they're just not funny. Not that I'm thinking about anybody specific. But yeah, and so like having a accountability and a realism to the magic, I think is what allows us to connect with it with our humanity. And then what that does as far as the morality of how things evolve. So those are two like really, really big influences on me. As I said earlier, Brent Weeks, who was an amazing American lit RPG author who sadly we think is passed on now. He wrote Dragon's Wrath, which unfortunately is not even up for sale on Amazon anymore. One of the reasons that we think he's passed on. He wrote a character who had lightning powers, and it was sort of associated with the fact that he had suffered from very bad electrical shock at some point in time in his life. He was helpful to me. He helped me to understand some of the basic nuts and bolts of being a writer early on. He gave me encouragement when I just was like, is this just a hobby? Is anyone even really going to care? Yeah. So yeah, those are three people. Two of them were passed on, definitely worth checking out. You might be able to, if you type in Brent Roth into Google, his webpage may still be up, and you might be able to find some of his books there. And Octavia Butler, if you're just looking for a good read, Parable of the Sower, Kindred, I just recommend it. They're dope. So yeah. All right, so I'm going to get out of here in a little bit. Like I said, I've got some free codes to give away for Alpha and for the Land and for God's Eye, maybe. So give me that free and whichever book you want in the DMs, and I will try to respond back with those. You have to use the codes. If it's time to give more codes away and you've gotten a code and you have not used it, I will give that code to the next person. So you don't know how long it's going to be good for. It'll definitely be good for at least today, but use the code. All right? But yeah, just send me a DM. I appreciate all of you. Like, none of this would be possible without you. I'm so lucky to have you guys as fans. Thank you. Please tell some friends about the AKU. when you finish, or if you finished a book, or if you ever were planning to leave a review, please leave a review. It means all the world to an indie author like me. Please do the likes here. And yeah, be good to each other. Like, if you're having a hard time, it's okay. Tomorrow can be better. I've lost 85 pounds. Think about that emotional weight that you could lose. I'm out of here, as always. Peace, love, perfect margarita. Bye. Boop. 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 Boop.